Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where each week we take a randomized prompt, random prompt, I don't know why I said randomized, and we make an entire world out of it. My name is Casey, and I am joined, as always, by Isaac, our prompt master.
Hello.
Okay, time to prompt.
Okay. So, you know how we did a steampunk thing
Yeah.
last time?
Yeah.
What if we did that?
Okay, but what's the special twist of this steampunk world?
Magic purple smoke.
Fair. So is
Magic... What?
that what they're producing? Is magic purple smoke?
At least the villain is. I have a villain idea for this one.
Okay, well, share your villain idea, because clearly that's the prompt, not steampunk.
Okay, so villain gets this purple smoke that he starts creating.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna call this purple stuff Dream Steam, which that name sounded a lot better in my head.
Yeah. It sounds like a hot tub, or like a steam room.
It does.
But it's the one where intimate things happen.
That's not what I had in mind.
Yeah, I'm just sharing what the name evokes.
Okay, so nightmare fuel.
Is that what this is?
Kind of. It basically, I just had this really weird idea that came to my head, and I'm like, what if a steampunk villain had this purple steam stuff, and he used it to manipulate people's dreams?
Kind of like the boogeyman in Rise of the Guardians?
Except kind of like the boogeyman. Yeah, anyway, so I was thinking that maybe this dream smoke stuff could be used on individuals to manipulate their dreams. So I'm thinking what he could do is he could plague people with, like, just a start off thing. This is starting places. He plagues people with nightmares, and then says, "Hey guys, I have the solution. This purple smoke stuff," which is what he was originally using to plague people with nightmares. And then he starts selling quite a bit of these, which he then uses to make more of this stuff, which he uses to plague people with more nightmares, which people then buy more to cure themselves of the nightmares, and they're only going to be cured so long as they are buying the smoke.
So it sounds more like the purple smoke, it actually just allows someone to control someone's dreams more so than it causes nightmares.
Yes.
So if you possess the purple smoke and are taking it, you therefore can control your own dreams. But if this guy is the one producing the purple smoke, he has control of your dreams.
Yes, that will work. Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm just following.
So something else I'm thinking is how does this purple smoke work? How does he get it to people and stuff? So what if, because steampunk... Okay, so I'm thinking that everything in this world is connected via brass pipes, and I'm thinking like the entire city is basically one giant working machine in this world.
Okay.
And so maybe instead of like telephones, like I know telephones often exist in steam powered universes. I say no. In this universe, they have like a pipe system where
so if you have news, you have to tell all your neighbors to get it to the one person you actually want to tell the news to.
No, you could actually have a system where it's like kind of like speaking to an operator. It's like, operator, I'd like to reach this person, and they shift some pipes around and connect you to the person you want to speak to.
Oh, okay. So it's the pipe work.
Yeah.
Instead of a network, it's pipe work.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea. I'm just imagining the person's jobs like click buttons and move. It's like, you know that the puzzle you can get where you can literally move pipes around and you have to get the water to connect to all the different points? This person's job is to play that game, except connecting one person to another without accidentally connecting them to someone else.
Pretty
Do you know
much.
how complicated that job would be?
I guess it pays well.
I could just imagine the person sitting there like, "Ma'am, I got you connected, but I have to warn you there's about 6 other people who are also connected. I couldn't disconnect them. They're talking to someone else. There might be some crisscross action going. I apologize. Proceed to share your very private and personal message to the world."
Well, I mean, we actually used to have that problem with phones,
That
where
Yeah, but they were in the
when
same
your neighbors.
household at least.
Yeah, I know it actually happened with neighbors.
Oh, did it? Where they could all
Yeah, but
like,
this was years ago. I don't know how long, maybe like 50s or something.
huh?
That sort of thing happened.
Yeah.
I think it was like around 50s, maybe 60s. That sort of stuff happened. I
Also,
don't
I
know
can
exactly.
imagine a fun hobby would be just get a chair in front of the phone, leave it open, and just listen to see what randomness comes your way.
Yeah,
There's
that could be fun. I mean,
because
I
like,
imagine you can like install like a little cap or something on it if you don't want to be disturbed.
oh
Like
yeah,
just
no, I
block out
think
the
I
sound.
think you have to answer the phone type thing, and I
Yeah,
think it rings if a message passes by, and then you can open it up, or you could choose to ignore it because it might not be for you. You don't know. Phones ring a lot. Also, like, there's a
yeah.
chance mid conversation, the lady at the end forgets that you're in the middle of a conversation and just cuts you off.
Uh,
You have enough time until the
oh,
pipes end.
how do you hang up on this sort of
Honestly, I
phone?
think it is. It's just the pipes get moved and you get cut off whenever. Like, it's who's ever next is in line, you change. So you could have anywhere from hours to like 10 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah. It doesn't
well,
seem the most efficient, but
that could lead to some interesting conversations. Though, like if you don't have phones, but this is the next best thing, I imagine they would come up with some sort of system.
yeah.
So
You
that
know, you're gonna
actually,
have war with one. Like, imagine if you're two people who you share the same like connector, and it flips whether you're talking to them, or them, and so you're just going back and forth every 10 seconds. You get to talk, and then every 10 seconds they get to talk, and so on. It's just
ooh, here's an idea. Maybe there's some sort of a lever that you can pull that disconnects the pipes automatically, and then this person, the person who manages like the operator, will see, oh, it's disconnected. I can now use this pipe and move it around.
oh, that's true. And then maybe that's the same pipe that automatically connects you to the operator.
Yeah. So
So
I'm
when
thinking
you
like
put
this.
that on,
Yeah,
which
this will
means
look
you could,
pretty.
and that could cause cutoffs, is when someone else is automatically connecting to the operator. So it still happens, but it doesn't happen as often. The operator's no longer doing it. It's just your neighbor wanting to talk to someone might do it.
Uh, maybe I don't know. I don't think we've got the same thing in mind. Okay, so you've got two pipes, one coming from one household, one coming from another, and
Yes.
they almost meet.
Yes.
But there's a little pipe that the operator inserts in between them to connect them.
Yeah.
And uh, when they are done talking, one of the people at the house supposed to pull a lever, and that disconnects the pipe.
Okay.
Operator sees that it's disconnected. Operator then removes the pipe and or from that spot can use it in other places to connect to other people.
Yeah. Oh, like we're talking moving pipes.
Yeah,
For some
I
reason,
think you could either use a bunch of machines to do it, or this might work if the pipes are like really thin. I guess I don't see why it couldn't travel through thin pipes where they could be moved by hand.
that seems like a lot of effort to. You know how much effort it takes just to maintain our thin little telephone poles wires? No, no one wants to move pipes around constantly for people to talk on the phone.
I'm thinking like these would be small pipes, though, like things you can pick up between two fingers.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think the size is the issue. I think the amount. Like, this is a thing that goes across the entire city. And it's one
Yeah,
thing having one teleop for running a machine, or like, and a few people to repair the machine. It's another having like 20, 30 people spanning across the city just moving pipes.
I mean I don't see why not.
I guess not. It seems. Steampunk is the era of invention. I feel like they would invent a better way. Then again, it's also like a busybody time or excessive invention. Like, you can't just fly, you have to fly via 20 different methods, and all of them fail but one, but you don't know which one it is, so you just use them all still.
Yeah, I mean I don't see why this sort of system couldn't exist in this world.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the original idea. It's like this is your telecommunication system,
Yeah.
and the villain I was thinking could be using this to deliver steam or this purple smoke into people's homes, where they then inhale it and it affects their dreams.
This is a very visual thing. Like that's the point of it, is that it's very it's purple. Don't you think
Yes,
people are concerned when purple smoke? Okay, so my concern
or
is,
sleep.
well, yeah, but there's always a chance they're gonna see the purple smoke, and all it takes is one or two people having caught sight of the purple smoke for them to put two to two together when they're like, I'm having nightmares with this purple smoke. This man shows up and is now selling me this very familiar looking purple smoke and says it will ward off the nightmares that only started when I first spotted that purple smoke. I wonder if they are connected.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
maybe
I mean, there's an easy solution. I'm just causing you trouble. They just forget the first, like, 5 minutes before they fall asleep. It's a simple solution. But
I mean that is an option. But, I'm thinking like before they fall asleep. Like, would the purple smoke make you sleepy? We could do that, where it makes you sleepy and you
yeah.
just forget what happened before.
Yeah, and then you just don't
So
remember
either
ever
you're
being in
just kind
it.
of force yourself to try and stay awake and just fall asleep on the floor, or you could say, "Oh, I'm suddenly very tired. You go to bed."
Yeah. It could strongly suggest bedtime. Because I think people falling asleep on the floor and, like, an excess of that would also rouse concern.
Yeah, like I think that it's just that just being tired suggests bedtime. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like just that. So if they just if they're trying to force themselves to stay awake, they're just gonna fall asleep on the floor or in their seat or wherever. So they'll
Yeah.
just be like, "Whoa, I suddenly feel very tired. Whatever this purple smoke is, I'll figure it out tomorrow." Goes to sleep, wakes up, forgets about purple smoke.
Yeah, pretty much. Sounds good.
And I'm thinking that he could also be using like a fan or something to just blow it through the pipe, because when there's no exit for the smoke other than the other end, a fan would send the smoke like all the way through.
So so what is he calling people then? Like just
Pretty
random
much.
numbers and then spraying it through?
Pretty much. But I don't imagine this is like a normal telephone system where they actually record who's calling who. It's just everything's moving. We gotta move quick to like try and get people connected to who they need to be. They're connected to, no delays, and so they don't have time to write down who's talking to who when. Why would they? Like, they don't have. This is a new system. They don't see any reason to record who's calling who when.
I mean, and he could also be jumping between pipes, like either sneaking into I'm sure there's pipes on the outside, like public pipes, telephone booths, but there's just a little pipe sticking out. I don't know how this would work, but and he's using those and like cycling through them so they can't be traced to him, because yeah, just in case,
another option.
yeah, just in case reports do start to show up, they can't connect it back to his house.
Yeah, you just gotta
Just
figure
extra
out, like,
precaution.
what happens if somebody sees you putting the smoke into the pipe. And they'll be like, "That's weird and suspicious."
Well, telephone. You know how telephone booths, they're very clear. They're soundproof, so no one can actually hear your conversations. I wouldn't be surprised if there's telephone booths here are both soundproof and sightproof, because maybe lip reading was a thing they were worried about, and they want people to be able to be in complete privacy.
Fair.
So it could just be an enclosed box with a, like a porta potty that has the do not in use little circle thing when you lock
Occupied.
it. Yeah. Except
Yeah,
maybe
like
it unlocks every 10 minutes because you've been on the phone too long and other people might want to use it. You're not doing anything that private that they can't unlock the door on you.
Okay, yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay.
So what else can we throw into this world and maybe add on to this villain? Because the villain was sort of like one of the main things I thought about for this world, and I'm like, yeah, he seems like a cool idea.
Yeah, now we have an
Steampunk
entire
setting.
telephone system.
Villains, it can can be really fun assets to world building
Yeah.
and storytelling.
Yeah, especially if you have a goal in mind for them, but they need something to complete it, and then that thing needs to be a big part of the world. So you have to do that.
Like this telephone system.
Yeah.
Now, what about like a delivery system? Because if he's planning on like doing this en masse, like if it's gonna take him hours and hours, and maybe people would get suspicious if they keep on hearing the same voice coming through, repeatedly saying, "I'd like to talk to this person. I'd like to now talk to this person. I'd like to talk to this person," and they'd be like, "Sir, why are you randomly calling people?" Because the
Yeah.
operator is still going to recognize this person's voice. And so if he's
Okay.
doing this
So,
en masse,
okay, new idea. And this guy has a minion. This minion works for the pipes. So, well,
ah,
yeah, see? Easy solution again. Well, the other little workers are actually trying to connect phone calls. This little guy is sneakily going about and connecting pipes to one main pipe, the guy's house maybe, and connecting it to as many people as he can at one time without disrupt. This is a very smart minion. This is not your classic dumb minion. This minion knows how to play that pipe game way too well, and it spread it to as many as people, so he can put like one thing of the purple liquid in and hit like 20 families, and no one and never even had to call them.
yep, that would work.
Yep.
And so he can much more easily do this en masse rather than
Yes.
doing like one at a time. It's
Yeah.
suddenly I just hit 20 people, time to go again.
I mean, if we want to be really crazy, this guy is the one who owns the phone company.
I actually thought about that earlier, and I'm like, does he need to own the phone company?
I think it's more fun just for him to be the one minion.
Okay, also, the minion could be doing this. Now that I think about it, the minion could be directly injecting the smoke. No need for the. Uh, like, if the minion has an immediate connection to all the households, there's no need for him to go from his own house to all these others. He could just have the minion do it.
True. I mean, why have a
If he
minion? Why
owns the
not?
phone company, why can't he just say, okay, everybody out of the room, I'm going to do something?
Yeah. No, yeah, I like the idea of the minion. I like the idea that the minion could be like, "Oh, I'm opening this pipe that's next to this person, just sneak in, just dump some of this purple smoke, close it up and keep connecting."
Yeah, I mean, and here's another thing. Here's an interesting plot point that you could have is the heroes go, they track down the smoke, and they're like, aha, it's coming from this person. This person is the culprit. They catch him, and they catch the minion. They incarcerate him and all that, and then the smoke continues affecting people.
Yeah.
Or maybe it stops for a while, and they're like, "Yep, this is definitely our guy." And then it continues later on, and they're like, "Wait, what happened?" They've like lost their leads and everything, and they put
You got the 6 months later, the guy comes back and you're like, "Remember that case 6 months ago with the nightmares and the weird smoke fog thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's back." They're like, "Did the guy escape from prison?" "No, it just started back up for whatever reason." And now they don't
Yeah,
know if it's like a copycat or if it's the same guy or what's going on.
yep. But if they catch the minion, then they'll know. Then they'll probably know how the minion's doing it. They almost have to know. And so they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're using the purple smoke to affect people's dreams. Well, now we know what to look out for. Now we know this stuff is a problem. Maybe we should ban this stuff. Maybe all these different things, or maybe they'll be like, okay, if nobody's really having all these nightmares, there's no purpose for this purple smoke anymore."
Yeah. I mean, this
Uh,
purple smoke definitely seems like an illicit drug that could quickly become illegal.
It's kind of what it is. It's a magical drug.
You know, it puts you to sleep. It lets you control your own dreams or whoever. Okay, so I think that's something we should actually talk about. Is how does the smoke know who is doing it? I have an idea, so let me know if you think it's bad or not. What I think it would be a good idea is if you actually whisper into the smoke and the smoke can take your words and implant them in people's heads. And so that's how.
I like that idea.
Yeah. So that way, it's literally the person who's giving it to you is the one who does it. Versus, and which makes me think that the good dreams this guy is selling to make his fortune to fight off the bad dreams, is him actually, like, they say, okay, what's your best dream? They tell him, and then he makes the smoke and speaks into it and does it. Rather than the others. So that way they need him. They don't realize they could just talk. They don't have access to the base smoke that you can talk into to control your dreams. They only have access to the finished product.
Now you just have to wonder, where does he get this smoke? Does he make it? Is he magic? How is
this the era of the mad scientist. The genre of the mad scientist? This is a genre. This is the genre of the mad scientist. He's making this stuff.
But, like, this is a magical mad scientist. This is, like, combining science and magic.
Not necessarily. Steampunk always had this... Steampunk always is a genre that always has this feel of, like, magical science, but it's just science.
Yeah, but whispering into smoke and that affecting what you see in your dreams just seems a little too fantastical.
Well, it's like... Okay, it's pretty much... it's micro recorders. That, like, dust particles, you take your recorder on your phone, or what we're doing right now, we're recording a video. You take that and you manage to make it the size of dust particles. For some reason they're the purple in color. And then with those dust particles...
He can manage a dust particle size recorder that he can whisper dreams into people's ears with, but he can't manage to make a proper telephone?
He doesn't want to make a proper telephone. Then his dust particles doesn't work. Come on, Isaac. And then
thinking no one is able to, like.
I'm trying to give you a scientific example. Let me finish at least. Those dust particles are then programmed to enter the certain nerves in the brain that stimulate sleep and dreams with those pre-programmed words, and that's how they do it.
Oh, okay, it just seems too sci-fi.
So?
For steampunk.
Steampunk has a sci-fi. It could be sci-fi.
Steampunk's not really sci-fi.
It's like steampunk is like... Look, there's a reason steampunk is in a genre all by itself. It's because it's whatever the heck it wants to be, as long as there's gears and metal.
I mean, maybe it's like you're just really stretching the suspension of disbelief there.
I mean, you don't have to explain the purple smoke, but you asked me to come up with an explanation for it, so I did.
Are we sure we don't want to just stick with the magic idea?
I think microcorders
is fun. Steampunk and magic aren't really ever combined, as far as I can... No, I can't think of any examples.
So I see how it is.
No, actually, never mind.
I see how it is. If it's combining fantasy and steampunk, it's never been done before. That'd be so cool to do it. But when it's sci-fi and steampunk being combined, you're like, oh no, that's not done. We shouldn't do it.
The reason you don't do it
I'm pointing out your hypocrisy.
They're both technology-based.
So?
And they're different levels of technology. One is... like, it's like you can create, again, these tiny little dust particle, like microscopic recorders, but you can't create a telephone?
I don't...
What?
Yeah. I mean, genius is weird, especially if you have one person who's smart to do that, and then they're choosing only to dedicate their lives to making a certain thing. I mean, if he's the only guy who can do it, and he wants to make the dust particles and doesn't want to make a telephone because, he's in it for himself, not others, then that's going to be what happens. So he's obviously going to sell it as magic.
Maybe. I mean, I think that a way that you could do this, and possibly, like, pull it off in a way where it doesn't stretch the disbelief too much, is this is a thing that has been being worked on for many, many generations in his family, and he is the first one in his lineage to actually complete this product and pull it off. And so maybe, like, if the characters go into his home, they find a room full of all of these different inventions that he's never shown anyone. One is, like, your just standard recorder. It's giant, it's big and bulky. And then next to that is a smaller one. The smaller one, they just get smaller and smaller. the thing that they've been working on for a long time.
Yeah.
Along with maybe several other different types of machines, until eventually there's that smallest one.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when he can finally achieve his goal. Implant
that's
thoughts in people's
maybe.
head. Yeah.
And maybe you could, and then it's just something else I'm thinking about from this is you have the protagonist. The villain likes the protagonist, and maybe the protagonist is very interested in technology and how everything moves around and stuff. And so he's like, "Hey, kid, you wanna be my apprentice?" And so he's like, "Sure." And then in the process, he is like, "Here, let me show you this machine I've been working on." He shows him like the original recorder.
Yeah.
And maybe from there, eventually, he'll put some stuff together and realize, oh, this tiny recorder can be put into the dust. Like he'll find the tiny. At first, he just sees the bigger one.
Yeah.
Then later finds the smaller ones.
But all that's, honestly, if you even want to explain the dust particles. But you don't, you can just Frankenstein it. Say, we stitched a bunch of things together, we struck it with lightning, and bang, we sent it out the door.
I mean, so long as you strike it with lightning.
Exactly. I don't think the dust particles would like me. Yeah, because either that or it could be, it could be a chemical. We're talking invention, but it could be just a chemical from a plant that they've discovered that only they have the only one of.
Oh, and a plant that retains sound. That's interesting.
I agree. It's a parrot
plant. I like that idea.
Yeah, this is probably better. Let's go the plant direction.
Light. I mean, there's plants and stuff in real life that retain things like light, so why not sound?
Yeah.
So then it catches the sound and releases it later. Or
it's like I know light waves and sound waves. I know light waves and sound waves are very different, so no one in the comments come at me for it. But the idea that it connects to light waves, it now just does it to sound waves instead. So it's the idea that talking to a plant actually brings it to life. It's because of the carbon dioxide, but here it's actually because it's feeding off your sound waves.
Yeah, and it just sort of holds on to the sound and then releases it slowly over time at a quieter decibel, so that no one can hear it unless it's actually in their ear. But you can't just stick a plant in someone's ear, so you turn it into a vapor.
Yeah.
And you take that and that vapor, it still has the properties of the original plant, and that is what goes into people's ears.
I think so I do believe, though, that the sedative, the thing that puts people to sleep, should be something added to the smoke afterwards. Just because the idea of a plant that requires you to talk to it to stay alive, putting people to sleep when it gets nearer to it, just doesn't make much sense.
Okay, so there's plenty of different ways that already in real life that we have.
Sedatives are. Also, this could be a fun clue that really throws people off, like the detective's office, when they find a sedative that is well known to them, but the sedative they know doesn't cause the dreams or the purple color, and now they're just even more confused.
Yeah, because they're like, wait, people are falling asleep, but this plant doesn't cause it. They don't realize it's being combined with a different plant that they've never seen before.
Yes, exactly. It's clever.
Okay, so forget the whole recorder thing stuff.
Yeah. That was just a tangent.
But,
just saying, for sci-fi purposes, if you want to use the tiny recorders that control your mind, have at it. It's a thing now.
Yeah?
We still
do that.
We can't use it in this world, but it doesn't mean it's not useful for other worlds.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this plant idea.
I like the plant. I agree. I'm glad we found ground where we won't be at each other's throat over it.
Alright, so what else can we build with this world? How about we go for more aesthetic and the city overall? So you've only added this one thing.
Well,
of course, you got this. We're probably gonna have automobiles, everything being brass and stone roads.
I think it's quite obvious that all the buildings are quite close to each other because the pipeworks have to be you can have a big wide range, but you don't want it makes sense, I think, for almost people to be living on top of each other. It's a lot of apartment versus
Yeah, I think
house.
I imagine there would be a lot of apartments. It cuts
Yeah.
down on the amount of pipes that you're using.
Yeah.
It's not. They're easier to work with and get to and things. Maybe a lot of them are going to buildings, and then there might even be a room or something inside of buildings where the pipes just go like straight down through them, so that people can access them and fix them and use and operate them and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
you'll have like your long stretches for the pipes, and nobody touches those. Like you don't need to touch those. It's the ones that are connecting different buildings and stuff. That's the one you have to touch.
you could also have like a really nice, like maybe a sort of a public heating system almost, where
Oh,
they'll have like one furnace or something that heats up, and then that heat can travel through um, the pipes and help warm people's homes. You could do the same thing with sort of a like cooling system,
yeah, but
almost like sort of
I
underground
don't think
well.
those should be the same. They can be next to the telephone, but at the idea of you talking on the phone and then you're getting blasted with heat, or if you're not on the phone, you
No,
don't
no,
get
no,
the
no. I'm
heat.
not saying they're using the same
Okay, good.
pipe.
I'm just
Separate network.
confirming that these are separate pipes.
Actually, if you're doing that, there's a good chance you could send the smoke in through there as well.
Yeah. Oh, like the
But
heating
then,
and
no,
stuff?
no, 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 no. You couldn't, because the way that these would be designed, it's so that the heat gets in, but the smoke does not.
Yeah.
So smoke would not, unless the smoke has different properties or something, it flows differently. I don't know. I don't think that. I don't think that they would do.
No. Also,
That
he
could
might
be a
be
thing
wanting to
that they'll
target
read that they
people.
go, it's like, hey, this is people are reporting smoke. Well, let's check the furnace.
Yeah, and then nothing.
And then
Yeah,
there's
that's
nothing
not
there.
there. Also, the telephone allows him to target certain people. Because I don't think he's going to be interested in targeting people who can't pay for it, for his cure.
No.
Also, selling the cure. How is that working? Because obviously people are going to associate the cure, with the cause.
Uh,
Are minions
I
selling it? Like
imagine.
urchins? And they're just saying, look, we're just picking this up from this location. We know nothing. We're just selling it.
I imagine that because he's like because he's created the telephone system, he's known as like a big inventor
Yeah.
in this the world,
Oh.
and so so as soon as they're all having these dreams, he says, "Fear not, citizens, for I have invented a cure." And
Proceeds to sell
maybe
it.
he just waits a few days, maybe a week or something, of people being plagued with nightmares before he actually releases it. And then it's like, I have invented a cure. I have not had nightmares for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you go.
What type of dream do you want? Because it's pre-programmed in. You tell me the dream you want, and then I deliver it.
I mean, something that he could do is he he doesn't even because if he directly asks people what type of dream do you want, and I'll make it, and then tells them I'll make it happen. Suddenly, that lets people know that he has control over the dreams.
Oh,
But
that's true.
instead, what if he just subtly asked, what kind of nightmares have you been plagued with? It's like, oh, these nightmares. And what kind of dreams do you want to have? Like, oh, these kinds of dreams. I would love to, I don't know, swimming with dolphins in my dreams. And then he's like, oh, I just might have something to help you with that. And he sorts through them as if these different vials of smoke do different things. And then he finds one and he's like, aha, this might just be what you need to swim with dolphins. And as he says, swim with dolphins, that affects the plant. And that affects the smoke.
Or it could even, so he could just sell it as like a base good dreams. And I think something that could be, so he has access to the telephones thing. What if he has another minion who's the operator, and the operator is taking notes on the people's like conversations, and is able to analyze like what their worst nightmares would be and what their best dreams would be. So
Ooh,
so
I
this
like
way
that.
he
Of course,
never.
this would have to be like a secretive thing where they have like where if anybody goes to check on the pipes, it's like they gotta have them hidden somewhere because like these extra pipes that would let them listen in on people.
Yeah.
Because the way that these would be designed normally is the operator can't eavesdrop, but secretly they can.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this way, he can just say, here, this is a base thing that gives you good dreams. And that's it. He doesn't have, so that way he doesn't need to know what good dreams you want or anything. He can kind of guess what it is. And
yeah, people can.
And this way he also knows what nightmares to give people. Because, like, for me, if you give me a dream of spiders, I'm not going to be freaked out by it. You'd have to, and even though that's, like, a common nightmare. So, you'd have to give me a different type of dream to really freak me out. And
I also want a steam-powered delivery system where they pressurize the pipes to shoot little capsules across and through them, similar to the voice network, except it's a delivery system.
So, like, text
at least for
messaging?
Smaller packages. It's like instant mail.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just all the tubes are connected. Honestly, you could probably put that inside the actual phones. Instead, like, they just have, it's the airwaves that's pushing your messages can also push little packages. I don't know.
I don't know, because I think that the way that these ones would be, I think these ones would have to be designed differently, because they would have to be filled up with so much steam and air and pressurized to shoot the messages across. That if you were talking on the phone, suddenly you're emptying all of that pressure, and then you have to refill it. I think it would be better off like this was a separate system.
So Isaac, okay, so I had a thought. So the thing about this phone system and what makes it seem ridiculous is the idea that you're transporting sound through pipes over long distances. But
I mean, that's possible.
Yeah, but like, what if it was that he was using the plant to do it? Like, it's just the plant is full of, like, the pipes are full of his plant steam already. It's just naturally clear, and it's his sedative he's created that turns it purple. Would that be a way to make, like, the telephone more seem to work better?
Maybe. I mean, I feel like that's much easier to track, much easier to figure out, much harder to set up for the villain, and all of these different things. I think it would just be easier for him to make the smoke and then attach it to a fan and connect it to 20 different people with just a single pipe and send it to them all at once.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah, and the whole sound traveling over long distances thing, that's 100% believable. Like, these pipes will carry it for, like, ever.
Oh, maybe not that far, but
maybe
I just have to do it for the city.
They go very far. However, the thing is, I just thought about something. The further away someone is, sound only travels so fast. So if you have somebody that's like a mile away that you're talking to,
there's a delay.
There would be a delay between what each of you are saying.
Well, it just means that when you're talking, you have to go over or something, like you do when you send a fax or something.
Yeah, like
or on the radio.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you'd have to end your sentence with like over, just so they know that you're done, and not just taking a breath.
Oh, we should do that with like regular conversation in life. Just say over so that people stop cutting each other off.
Are you referring to the fact that we do that a lot?
Oh, we do that constantly.
People don't realize that because I edit most of that out. But, I mean, some have to stay in. But I do edit a lot of our over. So we do it a lot. It shows up in videos a lot. And that's not all of them that we do.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we could just all say over whenever we were done talking. However, I feel like it would get really annoying really quickly.
I agree. I think it's one thing for a short telephone call, and it's another for, like, a conversation like this.
Ooh, the villain. He gets a cane. His cane shoots out purple smoke.
Oh, like to put people to sleep and just walk away?
Yep, so just put people to sleep and walk away. Like, it's like, oh, you saw something you shouldn't have.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, knock them out, move them somewhere else, and they'll be like, oh, what happened? Where am I? It's like, and they've just forgotten what they had seen. And it's like, how did I get into this random location? And, of course, he would have to use this to kidnap the hero or a hero's friend at some point.
Yeah. I don't even know how the hero plays in on it. I don't think we have the time to do the hero. That might.
I mean, the main thing I often hear, and that I kind of follow this rule as well, is build your villain before you build your hero.
Yeah.
Because basically the reason you do that is that if you create this incredibly powerful, unstoppable villain, but you give him this one thing that will be his downfall, you can then create the perfect hero that can utilize that one thing to defeat him.
In this case, he's probably one of the workers on the telephone pipes. Just an everyday worker who has a tough job, but because he knows the pipes, he's able to figure it out. And gets dragged in.
Yep.
There you go. Got your hero already.
I immediately imagine him as a misfit because he wants to learn how all the pipes work and wants to be an inventor, so he just starts messing around with the pipes in ways that he shouldn't, and then just connects a bunch of people accidentally. And now you got like 20 people on a private call between or maybe people who weren't even originally wanting to talk to anyone. They're just sitting in their homes doing things, and suddenly they hear voices coming through, and it's somebody talking about something very personal, and it's just like, whoops, just told that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a fun intro to the hero.
Yep, it's a great way for you to to say, oh, he's definitely not perfect, he's got these flaws, but at the same time, you can't help but feel sorry for him because he didn't mean any harm, and everybody is being so cruel to him at this moment. Like, dude, you're such an idiot. Why did you do that?
Yeah. I mean, because he was, and he shouldn't have. But we like to brush past that in stories.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to open up your story with, some reason to care about the main protagonist. If you don't give a reason to care about your main protagonist, no one's really gonna care about your story.
Yeah. I mean, you can make him care about the villain, which is harder, but it's also rewarding in itself.
Yeah, but perhaps at first we don't know who the villain is unless we open up with the villain.
It all depends on what point of view you want and all that. There's lots of variables as with all stories.
This could also be a situation where you don't necessarily know who the villain is, but this seems like the sort of thing where I'm pretty sure people can guess who the villain is just by the nature of purple smoke, giving people, he conveniently has a cure, rich man, he has a cane, he runs a telephone, but he's got all this power, he's clearly playing a major role in the story. What could he possibly be? How about the villain?
Yeah, we did make a pretty obvious villain.
Yeah.
But that
doesn't need to be obvious in world, that the characters living in this world would think that he's a villain.
Also, we have a lot of clues that we've given and developed that the reader wouldn't even have. Things like that it's coming from the telephone things, or the fact that the cure is the same thing causing it. The readers won't know that. They won't know that it's a purple smoke.
I think people can figure out who the villain is. They just don't know how the villain works, how he's able to pull this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though we can lay out all of the different elements of it, they still don't know how it works. Maybe it's they're just missing this one key part, which is the plant that carries the sound. Yeah. And once they find the plant, that's enough time for once they find the plant, the reader can suddenly figure it out. But before the reader gets a chance to piece everything together and figure it out, the main character has to piece everything together and figure it out. So the main character comes off as smart, so the author comes off as smart, so that the reader is sitting there going, oh my gosh, that's so smart. Even though because the reader could have figured it out, but they didn't, the character did first, and so the reader's like, oh my gosh, this is so smart. I am so thrilled with this book. And as we're thinking this is so smart, the villain comes out of the shadows. It's like, you weren't supposed to see that. Spray with cane.
Yeah, I mean, you just described every classic goal of the mystery novel.
Yep, I mean, that's sort of how it works. Whenever there's a mystery, or really in general, if there's a problem that needs to be solved, basically you have to throw a bunch of information at your audience and then have the character solve it faster than the audience can. And so you can make this character come off as extremely smart. And that's how you write somebody smarter than you are. You fake it.
Always. Always have the ending.
Yep,
that's why a lot of people are like, you should write your ending first. It seems like a weird tactic. At least for mysteries, a lot of mystery writers will be like, write your ending first. Then write the rest of it.
I write my ending first in general, not because of like mysteries and problem solving, but because I have a narrative endpoint where I want things to close off. I can create a really fantastic payment from all this.
Yeah, then
find the story.
I like having I don't write my ending first, but I like having a basic idea of what my ending's going to be. Because sometimes
I don't full on write the last chapter or anything.
Yeah.
I just have a basic layout for the ending.
But
I want X, Y, and Z to happen.
I also do a lot of short stories, and that just does not work for short story writings. Or even like one story I wrote, I had the ending planned. The guy was gonna burn a tree down, and then I actually wrote the story, and the guy ended up leaving with his best friend, running away with his best friend. And I'm like, well, that changed.
Yeah, that's a definite different ending.
Yep. I'm like, well, that's what happens when you write it sometimes. But I think we are good to go. Ready to end off? Say farewell to our purple smoked. This was not about the purple smoke. This was about the telephone line.
Yeah, this wasn't even much in the way of world building. This is more story building than anything.
I think it's item building.
40% world building.
No, this is definitely an element building. We built a telephone line and a purple smoke.
I'm not even sure, would this really be considered element? Because we built multiple things, and it's in a...
Yeah, but we're focused on elements. Yeah, but we were focused...
It's not really a thing that you can apply to anywhere.
Yeah, but our main... Well, I always thought that the main... that theme was based off of what was our video mostly... The video mostly... We're arguing about which playlist to put this in case you guys haven't caught on. So, it's what thing that our video is based off of the most. So what did we spend our most time world building? We didn't really world build story that much. We focused more on elements. We focused on the purple smoke and the telephone line, which are elements.
I guess so. We really didn't add that many elements. I expected us to have like a bunch of elements. But
yeah, but yes, in which case it would probably be...
Classic.
It would be more story if we focused on more elements, but since we got stuck on like 2 small elements, this is an element world building. That's what makes it the element world building, is the fact that we only did 2.
Yeah, it's a very like standard classic steampunk world. It's just that we added
2 fun elements.
We added the mailing system, the telephone system, and a heating system.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of other things I imagine you could make by having the world run on pipes.
Yeah. And that's very steampunky. Like, it feels very steampunky.
Yeah. Of course, maybe there would be 1 or 2 flying machines.
Well, yeah. But that's for you guys to add.
Let's advertising the smoke.
Yeah, that's for you guys to add, though. We are gonna call it quits here. Say goodbye to the world. Say goodbye to your pipes.
I want people to be riding bicycles a lot, too.
Bye, guys. I'm ending it. I'm gonna force end this episode. Bye.
Bye.